What's up guys, Fi here. People say that in order to increase a YouTube channel's relevancy, you have to cover popular and current topics. If you look at MatPat's channel for example, you can see a Minecraft and Five Nights at Freddy's video at least once a month, coupled with flash crazes like Among Us and Fall Guys appearing and disappearing according to their popularity. I of course decided to hop aboard the bandwagon and cover a game that came out 10 years ago. Oh wait, did I say join the bandwagon? I meant drive it off a cliff, because in today's episode we'll be going balls deep with our PP. Welcome to the third installment of Philosophy with Fi. Now I know I said I would make a maximization video, but a wave of nostalgia and dopamine hit my prefrontal cortex, and I became compelled to spend several hours spamming the same two spells in Magicka. Originally, I wasn't going to make a video, but I noticed something during my playthrough of the game that I couldn't find anywhere on the internet. I did what any normal person would do, and spent several days researching game references and history to patch together a working concept. Normally, this series doesn't cover theories, instead it breaks down the thematical and philosophical messages littered throughout the gaming art form. However, what I uncovered is way too interesting not to talk about, and it enhances the overall meaning/themes behind Magicka. The story is told by our vampiric narrator and mentor, Vlad. Once upon a time in a land known as Midgard, a powerful evil wizard known as Grimnir sought to harness the power of an ancient knowledge to spread eternal peace across the land. The Order of Magic felt threatened by his ambition and imprisoned Grimnir at the end of the world, where we find him now gathering orc and goblin forces to set himself free. Us, the player, embark on an epic journey to save the world, succeeding in Chapter 12, where we fight and kill Azitur, a daemon who had been the one responsible for commanding the orc and goblin forces, using Grimnir as a tool. After winning the confrontation, we celebrate obtaining the strongest magic, Vortex, able to one-shot any boss. We're then awaited with a celebratory Save the World party back at where we started. We are heroes. But what if I told you we've been fighting on the side of evil this whole time? This is where the video really begins, with the subject of apathy and the deadly sin of sloth. Let's revisit the story. We start the game by attending a farewell party, blessing our coming journey to fight Grimnir, when a miscast spell sends us careening to the basement. Our wizard friends hastily board up the resulting hole, leaving us trapped. We make our way through the tutorial section, where we face off against a sub-boss, the Watcher, where we emerge victorious, only learning the daemon was sent by our wizard brothers to find us. We're rushed off before any more accidents occur. Accidents using quotes to elude the miscast spell wasn't an accident, and we immediately join in the band as the lead percussionist and create what my father and mother did with me. After resetting, we leave the castle totally how we found it and talk to some elderly wizards who talk of saving the world multiple times. After dealing with the elderly, we use a sequence break to obtain an early spell. We use our newly acquired teleport to leave and embark into the woods, but not before observing this dead moose. Shortly after leaving, we encounter this villager with a quest asking to help with a rat invasion. We deal with an unrelated goblin attack and completely ignore the woman's problems. Going to the back of her house, we find Excalibur, a sword that—
Lyssna! Kan ni lova ni Murphy?
I will murder you. A sword that comes out of the stone when a brave hero is chosen, but the sword does not choose us and remains in the stone. This of course is played off as a funny gag, but there is much more here than what meets the eye. We continue on our journey, defeating a troll and glitch out a Schrodinger-esque captain who is both alive standing, but also somehow dead. Continuing deeper into the forest led by Vlad, we find another dead moose and a man's wife, along with the master story that—
Lyssna! Kan ni lova ni Murphy?
that fires bolts of energy at full HP. After immediately losing the sword while free stroke swimming, we fight and kill Jormungandr, walking on Vlad having a midday snack, and hijack an airship heading to Havendir. We're riding on the ship when all of a sudden Vlad yeets himself off when he senses something happening in his fiefdom. We crash, end up borrowing this man's sword, obtain the only other spell I'll be using, Thunderbolt, and receive transport to Havendir. Upon arrival, we spot another dead moose, which makes you wonder, why dead moose? Meese? Moose. The name of the achievement is King's Quest, which is in reference to an old Atari game, King's Quest II, where the objective is to find a wife suitable for your kingdom. A quest for companionship which contains a fun moose Easter egg. But what does a dead moose represent? According to Google, it means complacency and friendship. Pause. Yes, I am aware this info comes from Astrology Web, so take the meaning with a grain of salt. I included it because I couldn't find literally any other symbolic representation of dead moose. Okay, back to the video. The game is designed around co-op, best played with friends, and this game is riddled with complacency. Don't believe me? Later in the story, we found out that Vlad had jumped ship to address a perceived invader in his village, which, by the way, was starving and completely diseased. We spend 10 seconds healing up the villagers, which spur an angry mob into attacking the Count running the town. The Count was Vlad, our guide, who is a powerful wizard quite capable of fixing the town, but he chose not to. The villagers flee back to the town afraid for their lives while we push on and meet Vlad, who attacks us, which, as the kids say, is totally not cash money. This all occurs while our past selves are in Havendir, due to some time travel shenanigans later in the story. To continue, we showed this villager a magic trick, grind meat for some sausages, and save the king. The king repays our kindness by using us to clear a way for Khan and forces us to defeat Khan, where we are met with Vlad sitting pompously on the throne. We go to World's End, where we face off against Grimnir and lose. Vlad thrusts us into the past, where we conquer a goblin mineshaft, see Vlad's village, beat Death, wreck Fafnir, and then obliterate the daemon Asator. Here's the interesting part. The symbol used to shackle Grimnir at World's End is an infinity symbol, the same symbol as carved into these statues which are littered throughout the game. This is also a close resemblance to the King's emblem who we saved. Also, what did Grimnir tell us when we first met him face to face? He calls us a mindless drone, questioning if we knew why we were there. That even after what felt like eternity bound, he turned down hatred for the Order, only wishing to help the world. Once we return for the second time, we cast Corporealize, killing Grimnir and releasing Asator. Asator reveals that because Grimnir was full of hate from the Order's treachery, he made Grimnir into his puppet. Thus the whole of events we've encountered have all stemmed from the Order's treacherous plan. Vlad even admits that he wants us to comply blindly without asking any questions to see Grimnir. And what happens to us when all is said and done? Observe the end screen again and see what happens. We jump for joy, happy at the quest's completion, but we remain there. So we jump again, trying to return home, trying to reach the next chapter. But that never comes. We are stuck, just like Grimnir. We became too powerful with all the magics we've acquired along the way, and have been trapped at World's End by the Order. Thinking back, we left the Magic Institute only knowing one magic, Revive, which begs the question, why were we tasked to save the world? You see, Vlad knew we would do what we were told without question. We are completely apathetic. He had orchestrated the removal of Grimnir, and we, the player, were too foolish to realize we had been played. It turns out the evil wizard of the story was none other than Vlad himself. Fun twist ending, but there are some unsolved mysteries. What do these statues mean? What's their connection with the underworld and the summon elemental magic? And what happened in the plot to imprison Grimnir? Tell me what you think down below in the comments and subscribe. When I get partnered with YouTube, I'll make a remix of The Dog Days Are Over, but only using dog noises. Ciao.